you can be like, oh, well, that was fun, but I guess now we should provide like a very, very basic social welfare system for people and like just try to collect dividends on our old spoils and do this sort of softer colonialism throughout the world where no one yells at us. Or you can go in the Turkey direction, which is just insanity, like blaming every enemy, external and internal, for why you no longer have an empire, but also drawing back. Most of your state violence is now directed at home and to countries that are immediately closest to you. And this movie, I guess, as funny as it is and has as good of a time I had watching it, and QAnon to the same extent, as funny as it all is, it does scare me to an extent because it's so reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if these people win, we're just going to be Turkey. That doesn't seem fun.
No. Yeah, we get some sort of down home like cracker Erdogan to just coalesce all of like the surly lumpen Americans.
Well, that's the thing. Erdogan is a cracker.
Yeah.
Erdogan
No, he
like,
is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like Erdogan is he's like literally like if one of those people who's like, I've been put in the Twitter gulag was like actually sent to prison and then like won elections. It's so fucking weird.
Denise D'Souza.
Yeah.
All right, so Garrison gets red pilled by Russell Long on a flight where they drank 18 scotches together.
Yep.
And then he gets back to New Orleans and then immediately starts poring over the Warren Commission and finding all the multiple actual really bizarre inaccuracies and huge red flags in the Warren Commission report. And what I love about this scene is like he's, staying up late, like just inveighing against his wife. Like, how does it make sense that they didn't even interview this witness? His wife, in a totally thankless, pointless role.
She's good, but damn.
Played by Sissy Spacek, another absolute
amazing,
like A-list fucking level talent, but in the most thankless role in this movie. Like one of the best examples of like the textbook, utterly thankless woman wife character.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that like she just starts going like, honey, that was 3 years ago. We've also tried so hard to put it out of our heads. Like, why are you bringing this all back up? And I love it because it is so Epstein shit. I know Virgil got in trouble for saying girlfriends hate talking about the Epstein conspiracy, but it's like I was watching that scene and like I was like literally imagining her say, but honey, the New York medical examiner ruled that was a suicide. Why do you have to bring this all up? You sound crazy.
My favorite thing she says is literally like when he starts getting into Clay Shaw, when she basically just goes, but he's nice. It's just like
all the work he's done restoring the French Quarter.
Yeah, like literally she's like, oh, he renovated an old building. Like it's like I know that, yeah, she was a real person and she has a name in the movie, but they might as well just cast her as like dumb woman.
Yeah. Because she has to be there to represent the home and hearth that he's protecting.
Yes.
But her hostility shows the sacrifice that he takes on, that he's willing to suffer to do this. But it does really be like women should really stay in the house.
And also, like the original Kennedy montage in the very opening of the movie, narrated by Martin Sheen, that underscores his hot, beautiful wife and perfect family. Early in the movie, they also established that like Jim Garrison, he's like, oh, you gonna put me to bed, honey? He's like, oh, I'm gonna come up later, honey. You know what's coming for you. Yeah. And it's like they just established he fucks his wife.
Yes,
which becomes crucial. In a contrast with the targets of his investigation. So he tells his office, and like, the investigators and fellow attorneys who work for him. And again, another great scene where they walk around downtown New Orleans and go to the real office and show that there were two addresses leading to the same office. One of those used by Lee Harvey Oswald to go to Guy Bannister's PI.
Yeah. And
then they've already interviewed David Ferrie, and they begin to uncover these connections to potential witnesses to the Kennedy assassination, and their connections with Oswald. David Ferrie, Guy Bannister, obviously Oswald, Jack Ruby, but then this shadowy figure, Clay Bertrand. And they begin to try to figure out who this Clay Bertrand guy is. And there's a great scene where they walk around, like I said, downtown New Orleans. They talk about like that building right across the street, CIA, Office of Naval Intelligence. That right there, that's the FBI. We're standing in the heart of the intelligence community in New Orleans. If you were like a committed Cuban Marxist agent, like would you spend a lot of time here?
Yeah.
And again, another actually true fact. The true fact stated the hands off Cuba flyers that Oswald was handing out did have an address stamped on it, which was Guy Bannister's office.
It's true. That's a fact. That's not made up.
Okay,
And that's weird. That's the thing.
Yeah,
this movie, it's
so-
like there's so much real shit in there. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the ratio that like I guess if you were gonna put like real shit as proof, like you would in a drink, the combination is so interesting because it's like every 10th thing is like wait, what the fuck? Wait, that really happened. Whoa, are you serious? Like, yeah, the Guy Bannister thing, the office being there, Oswald just being fine, not even really getting debriefed after defecting to Russia.
Defecting to the Soviet Union and bringing his
Right.
Soviet citizen wife back to America with him.
And then it's the rest of it, like the rest of the liquid in your beer is, oh, and by the way, this guy that David Ferry knew, also gay. Gay guy here, gay guy there. They were being gay together. They were having gay sex the moment that Kennedy died. And guess what? Their accountant, also a gay man. Their mom and dad, gay men. Their kids, gay men. Their dog, gay. Everyone involved in this.
Well, Felix, you're right. So, like, they decide, Garrison is like, I'm going to reopen an investigation into the murder of the president. And which circles around like these figures in New Orleans. Crucially, this guy Clay Bertrand, played by Tommy Lee Jones in a magnificent
Also,
performance.
if you've seen pictures, another one where it's just an uncanny
resemblance.
Maybe my favorite performance in this movie, Tommy Lee.
Oh,
Jones.
absolutely.
Oh God,
Yeah.
he's so good. Yeah. Clay Bertrand, aka Clay Shaw, was like a New Orleans businessman and was connected to the CIA. Who was like a classic sort of like Southern archetype of sort of confirmed bachelor, sort of like
an
sort of
elegant
debauched
dandy.
old Southern aristocrat, Southern
in a
dandy.
mansion.
And they find out about him through one Willie O'Keefe, who I think is a composite character played in the movie by Kevin Bacon. And if you've ever played the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, you should have a proviso that you cannot use the film JFK
that's
because
cheating.
it is the master key for winning every time you play that
Yeah,
game.
it's too easy with it. if you
Kevin
use that
Bacon
movie.
plays a hustler, a French Quarter hustler, who they go and interview in Angola at the farm. And in a great scene, like, he unravels he tells them, he's like, I got no reason to lie to you, Mr. Garrison. Bring all those motherfuckers on with their degrees. I'll tell them, well, I got nothing to lose. I don't need this parole. They interview him at Angola, and he spins his story about that he knows who, Clay Bertrand, who's a guy he met, as a,
Member of the homosexual underworld.
yeah, exactly. And that, he attended dinners and, parties, and he goes, yeah, he walked with a limp, but don't get me wrong, he's not one of these limp wrists. He's a Butch John. You could go fishing with him, play poker, and he'd never snap, And then this is where, again, the investigation into the murder of the president becomes an investigation of gay sickos in New Orleans.
Well, that's the final Q thing. That's the final Q puzzle thing where because it's not just these elites are killing our president and getting us involved in foreign wars and leading to cultural decadence. The elites themselves are debauched perverts doing unnatural acts, and this like connects to fucking Pizzagate and everything. It's just like a milder like boomer, liberal version of that. Like, these are sickos. Like, the people ruling us and controlling things from behind the scenes are confirmed sickos. Because it's not just that they're gay; it's the way that Stone portrays them.
Okay,
Yeah, they don't
which
just have
leads-
gay sex with each other.
which
It's
lead-
beyond that.
Which leads to, there's a scene where they finally figure out that Clay Bertrand is Clay Shaw, as an alias of Clay Shaw, a guy who is a well-known figure in New Orleans. Like I said, he is a philanthropist and like a well-known man about town. And he brings him in. Garrison brings him in to interview him. And like in that, again, through this amazing montage flashback technique, he's like, have you ever met Willie O'Keefe? And he goes, well, I do declare, I've never met such a figure. And he goes, do you know who this man is? And it's Lee Harvey Oswald. And he goes, Mr. Garrison, you have me concerned with an awfully colorful cast of characters.
It also says that this company is linked to the Schlumberger Tool Company here in Houma, Louisiana, which helped provide arms to David Fair and his Cubans.
Mr. Garrison, you're reaching.
Am I?
But like in this flashback monologue where Tommy Lee Jones, Clay Shaw, is denying his involvement with all these people. Stone is showing you what's actually happening, which is that Kevin Bacon, Joe Pesci, and Tommy Lee Jones attend parties where they do poppers, paint themselves in gold paint, dress up like French aristocrats, watch Triumph of the Will, and do like S&M gay orgy fucking. They fucking suck each other.
There's even a moment where Pesci's dressed up like Louis the 14th or Louis the 16th, and Tommy Lee Jones is painted gold like fucking Apollo or something, and he twists his nipples, and then on the audio track, it's like an animal roar.
Yeah, like it's portrayed in such like a Lynchian, slow-mo, like nightmare.
Exactly. It is like, even though you could say like, what? It's just it's just gay guys having a gay party. It is portrayed. And like, you might watch people do that and be like, oh, cool, go off. But it is not portrayed that way. It is portrayed in a way that leaves no doubt that this is wrong, that these people are perverts.
The fact that they're screening Triumph of the Will as they're doing it.
Well, you can separate the art from the artist.
But in the scene where they're interviewing Kevin Bacon in Angola, Kevin Bacon says he's like, you think this is about justice? You think it's about justice? This is about order. Who rules? And he's like, the reason I'm telling you this is like, people got to know. They got to know why he was killed. And he was killed because he was a communist. Richard Nixon would have been one of the great presidents. And this motherfucker Kennedy stole that election. And I just hate to think that they blame it on some dumb Oswald, don't even know shit about what's going on. And then there's this whole other thing where I think the guy Willie O'Keefe is based on was a real person who testified at the actual Garrison case. I think his name was Russo, who testified that he attended a party at Guy Bannister's office that was filled with these insane Cuban exile guerrilla guys who, again, even after the Bay of Pigs were had these camps in the middle of the Louisiana and Texas, like Louisiana swamps and like Texas fucking sticks, where they were stockpiling arms and being trained and plotting a second invasion attempt after the disastrous Bay of Pigs. This is all real.
They called it Operation Mongoose.
Operation Mongoose was real. It was, again, through cutouts, the FBI knew about it, but it was also managed by the mob.
Mm-hmm.
Funded and facilitated by them to a large degree, and they're all having a party at Guy Bannister's with these insane Cubans, and then Dave Ferry gets drunk and just starts ranting about how they're going to kill Kennedy, and that's when he sets up the whole idea. He's like, you need 3 mechanics, triangulation of fire, but the crucial thing is that one has to be sacrificed. And then Tommy Lee Jones goes, he's like, you have such a vivid imagination, Mr. Ferry.
It's one thing to engage in badinage, but you could say something that could